but not fast enough! I'm trying to keep up! This ends now! Do it!
Hey guys, before starting the video, I want to share something with you. This is my second channel, and on it I'm covering the story Goku, the new King of Everything. So if possible, please visit this channel and support this video and the series. I promise you won't be disappointed. That's all. Now let's begin this awesome episode.
Let's start the video!
In the vast expanse of the multiverse, the Omni King stood at the edge of oblivion, breathing heavily. Zeno-sama had just completed the most difficult task of his eternal existence, erasing 6 entire universes from reality. These weren't ordinary cosmic domains. They were the sacred universes, home to deities and warriors whose power transcended normal divine hierarchy. The battle had been brutal. Even for someone of Zeno's absolute authority, containing these beings had pushed him to his absolute limits. Their corruption had spread like a disease, negative energy so potent it threatened the stability of all creation. Left unchecked, they would have consumed everything. But victory came at a terrible price. The Grand Priest materialized beside his lord, concern etched across his usually serene features. My Lord Zeno, your condition, the energy you expended to eliminate those universes was astronomical. Are you certain you're all right? Zeno turned to face his most trusted servant, and for the first time in eons, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. Grand Priest, the power required to erase those gods, it nearly destroyed me. I've never encountered beings who could resist my erasure to such a degree. The sacred gods were indeed formidable, Grand Priest acknowledged, his voice carrying the weight of ancient knowledge. They existed beyond normal divine limitations, their potential seemingly endless. Zeno clenched his small fists, his childlike appearance contrasting sharply with the gravity of his words. I need to find someone, a successor, someone who can bear this responsibility when I no longer can. The Grand Priest's eyes widened slightly, a rare display of genuine surprise. My lord, you are the supreme authority. You govern all 12 remaining universes with absolute power. Surely you're not suggesting— I am, Zeno interrupted firmly. Those 6 universes nearly killed me, Grand Priest. What happens when another threat of that magnitude emerges? What if next time there are warriors even stronger? He paused, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. What if next time I fail completely? The Grand Priest remained silent for a long moment, processing this unprecedented declaration. His lord, the being who stood at the pinnacle of all existence, was admitting vulnerability. This changed everything. If that is your decision, my lord, then I will support you without question, Grand Priest replied, bowing deeply. But finding someone worthy of inheriting your mantle, that will not be an easy task. Such a being would need potential beyond anything we've ever witnessed.
Zeno nodded slowly, gazing out at the cosmos. They're out there, Grand Priest. I can feel it. Somewhere in the multiverse, there's a warrior whose destiny is intertwined with ours. We just need for them to reveal themselves. Millions of years cascaded through time like grains of sand through an hourglass. Civilizations rose and fell. Universes expanded and contracted in their cosmic dance. The memory of the sacred universes faded into legend, then into myth, until finally they were forgotten entirely by all but the highest deities. The Grand Priest never forgot his lord's declaration, but as the eons passed without sign of this prophesied warrior, even he began to wonder if such a being would ever emerge. Then came the tournament of power. The arena materialized in the world of void, a dimension of infinite emptiness where 80 warriors from 8 universes gathered to fight for survival. The stakes were absolute. Losing universes would be erased from existence entirely. It was the most brutal competition ever conceived, orchestrated by Zeno himself as both entertainment and cosmic necessity. Grand Priest oversaw the proceedings with his characteristic calm, but as the tournament progressed, something caught his attention. A Saiyan from Universe 7, a mortal named Son Goku, was displaying abilities that defied conventional understanding. The transformation happened during Goku's battle against Jiren, the Pride Trooper from Universe 11. Pushed beyond his limits, exhausted and broken, Goku did something that shocked every god, angel, and deity watching. His hair turned silver. His eyes became mercury pools of pure instinct. His movements transcended thought itself. Ultra Instinct. The technique that even gods of destruction struggled to glimpse, this mortal had accessed it through sheer necessity and determination. The arena fell silent, except for the sound of Goku's aura humming with unprecedented power. In the royal viewing area, Zeno leaned forward with sudden intensity. His eyes, usually filled with childlike wonder, now burned with recognition. "Grand Priest," he said quietly, "that's him." Grand Priest's composed mask cracked for just a moment. He understood immediately what his lord meant. "The Saiyan? You believe he's the one, the successor you've been waiting for?" "Look at him," Zeno replied, unable to tear his gaze away. "He's a mortal with less than a century of life experience. No divine training, no cosmic heritage, yet he's achieved something that takes gods millions of years to even attempt. His potential is exactly what I've been searching for." "My lord, with respect, Ultra Instinct is merely the beginning of what would be required," Grand Priest cautioned. "The sacred gods you faced possessed power that could challenge even angels. Goku's current strength, while impressive, is nowhere near that level." Zeno's expression shifted into something resembling a smile, but there was steel beneath it. "That's exactly why he's perfect, Grand Priest. He hasn't reached his ceiling. He doesn't have a ceiling. Every time he fights, every time he's pushed to the brink, he breaks through to something greater. That adaptability, that endless hunger for growth, that's what makes him worthy." Grand Priest considered this carefully. His lord's judgment had never been wrong before, but this decision would reshape the entire cosmic order. "If you truly believe this, then I will train him personally. However, even with my instruction, the path ahead will be unimaginably difficult." "I know," Zeno acknowledged, "but if anyone can walk that path, it's him. Trust me on this, Grand Priest." The Tournament of Power reached its climactic conclusion. Universe 7 emerged victorious through the combined efforts of Goku, Frieza, and Android 17. The arena lay in ruins, warriors exhausted and battered beyond measure. When Android 17 was granted his wish by the Super Dragon Balls, he chose to restore all the erased universes. Salama, a being of incomprehensible power, moved to fulfill this request. His cosmic energy rippled across dimensions, reconstructing entire realities from nothing. But something went wrong. Or perhaps something went exactly as fate intended. As Salama's restoration energy spread through the void, it touched something ancient, something that had been sealed away, not destroyed. The 6 sacred universes, locked in a state of suspended erasure by Zeno's power, suddenly felt the touch of creation energy once more. In deep non-existence that had imprisoned them, consciousness stirred. The sacred gods opened their eyes. In Universe 13, the first of the sacred realms, a temple that had stood empty for millions of years suddenly blazed with light. The god of wisdom, Hamura, manifested on his throne, confusion and rage warring across his ancient features. What is this?" he muttered, examining his own hands as if seeing them for the first time. "We were erased, obliterated by that child tyrant. How can we exist again?"
Around him, his universe rapidly reconstructed itself. Planets materialized from cosmic dust. Stars ignited across the darkness. Life, which had been snuffed out in an instant millions of years ago, began again as if it had never ended. Hamura's mind raced, analyzing possibilities with the prodigious intellect that had earned him his divine title. The Super Dragon Balls, Someone must have made a wish that inadvertently restored us. But who would do such a thing? Every deity in the lesser universes feared and despised us. Before he could contemplate further, 5 massive energy signatures appeared on his planet. The other principal gods of the sacred universes had sensed his revival and come immediately. They materialized in brilliant flashes of light, each radiating power that would make a god of destruction seem like a candle before the sun. Dracoria arrived first, his body covered in shimmering scales that seemed to be made of solidified dragon energy. His eyes blazed with barely contained fury. "Hamura, explain this immediately. How are we alive? Did that arrogant child Zeno finally die, releasing his hold on our erasure?" "Impossible," declared Neon, the goddess whose mastery over fundamental forces was absolute. Her form shifted between states of matter as she spoke. "If Zeno had perished, we would have felt the cosmic shockwave. No, something else has occurred." Cirrus, whose control over celestial phenomena was unmatched, floated above them all, surrounded by miniature galaxies that orbited his body. "The Super Dragon Balls," he stated with certainty. "I can still feel their residual energy in the fabric of space-time. Someone made a wish, and we're the unintended consequence." "Unintended or not, we're back," growled Ryuma, whose mere presence caused reality to strain at its seams. He was the strongest of all the sacred gods, a being whose power had actually wounded Zeno during their final confrontation. And that little tyrant is going to regret not finishing the job properly. The 5th god, Mikoshi, remained silent. Her analytical mind was already piecing together the implications. Unlike her more aggressive companions, she understood that their situation was far more complex than simple revenge. Hamura raised his hand, calling for silence. "Before we do anything rash, we need information. Our universes have been gone for millions of years. The cosmic landscape has certainly changed. We need to understand what we're dealing with before we make any moves." "What's there to understand?" Dracoria snarled. "We gather our strength, march to that insufferable child's palace, and tear it down around his ears. He erased us, Hamura, eliminated us like we were nothing. Our pride demands retribution." "Your pride will get us erased again, permanently this time," Hamura shot back. "We need to be smart about this. The fact that Zeno managed to eliminate us at all proves he has power we didn't fully account for. If we charge in blindly, we'll just repeat history." Ryuma stepped forward, his massive frame dominating the gathering. When he spoke, even the other gods fell silent. "Hamura is right. As much as it pains me to admit, our previous defeat proved we underestimated that child. This time, we gather intelligence first. Hamura, use your abilities to scout the current situation. We need to know everything about what's happened during our absence." "How long?" Neon asked. "Give me 3 days. I'll create an observation construct, something that can infiltrate the world of Void and spy on Zeno's realm without being detected." Hamura's eyes gleamed with cunning. "If we're patient, we'll learn everything we need to know." The gods agreed, dispersing to their respective universes to assess their domains and gather their strength. But as they left, none of them noticed the subtle distortion in space-time that marked another presence observing their meeting. Far beyond even the sacred universes, in a realm that existed outside the conventional multiverse entirely, a figure watched through a cosmic window. Gilgamesh, one of the celestial gods whose authority transcended even Zeno's, observed the sacred god's revival with interest. "So the pieces are moving again," he mused, golden hair shimmering with power that could unmake galaxies with a thought. "The sacred gods return, and in the lower realms, a mortal has touched ultra instinct. How deliciously chaotic." He smiled, a gesture that somehow made the void around him darker. But not yet. Let the pawns dance a while longer. Back in Universe 7, the Tournament of Power had concluded. The warriors returned to their respective worlds, exhausted but alive. Bulma, ever the gracious host, had prepared a massive celebration at Capsule Corporation to honor our universe's victory. Goku, still processing everything that had happened, found himself somewhat distant from the festivities. His mind kept returning to that moment when he'd achieved Ultra Instinct. The power had been incredible, but also fleeting. He'd lost it almost as quickly as he'd gained it, and now he couldn't reach it again no matter how hard he tried. Whis noticed his contemplative expression and glided over with his characteristic grace. "Goku, you seem troubled. Shouldn't you be celebrating? After all, you helped save our entire universe."
I guess I'm just thinking about that transformation, Goku admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. Ultra Instinct. It felt like I was finally reaching something I'd been chasing my whole life, but now I can't even touch it. It's frustrating. Ultra Instinct isn't something you can simply activate at will, Whis explained patiently. Even Lord Beerus, with millions of years of training, hasn't mastered it. The fact that you accessed it at all is miraculous. Don't be discouraged. He was interrupted by a sudden shift in the atmosphere. The Grand Priest materialized in the center of the gathering, his presence immediately commanding everyone's attention. The party fell silent as every warrior and deity recognized the supreme authority before them. "Son Goku," the Grand Priest announced, his voice carrying effortlessly across the space. "I apologize for interrupting your celebration, but I have been instructed to deliver a message from Lord Zeno himself." Goku's eyes widened. Vegeta, standing nearby, tensed immediately. The other Z-fighters exchanged worried glances. The Grand Priest personally delivering a message from the Omni King was unprecedented outside of official universal business. "What's this about?" Goku asked, his earlier melancholy replaced by curiosity and a hint of apprehension. "Lord Zeno wishes to speak to you privately about a matter of great importance. However, he understands you've been through an exhausting ordeal. He requests you rest tonight and come to the palace of the Omni King tomorrow. I will return to collect you then." Before Broku could respond, Grand Priest added, "I should mention that this concerns your future and potentially the future of all existence. It is not a matter to be taken lightly." The weight of those words settled over the gathering like a heavy blanket. Bulma's eyes widened. Vegeta's frown deepened. Even Beerus, who had been half-heartedly participating in the festivities, sat up with sudden attention. "The future of all existence?" Goku repeated, trying to process what that could possibly mean. "Is there another tournament? Another threat?" "Those questions will be answered tomorrow," Grand Priest said with a mysterious smile. "For now, rest and recover. You'll need your strength for what's to come." With that cryptic statement, he vanished as suddenly as he had appeared. The parting atmosphere had completely evaporated. Everyone stared at Goku, who looked equally confused and intrigued. "What do you think that was about?" Krillin finally asked, breaking the silence. "Nothing good knowing Goku's luck," Vegeta muttered. "Every time that clown gets involved with higher cosmic powers, the rest of us end up dealing with the consequences." "Hey, that's not fair," Goku protested. "I don't go looking for this stuff, it just happens." "That's exactly the problem," Vegeta shot back, but there was no real heat in his words. Despite his complaints, there was also a flicker of curiosity in the Saiyan Prince's eyes. If the Omni King himself wanted to speak with Kakarot about something involving the future of all existence, it had to be significant. Whis exchanged a meaningful glance with Beerus. The god of destruction's expression had shifted from lazy contentment to genuine concern. "Whis, do you know what this is about?" "I'm afraid not, Lord Beerus," replied Whis, though his tone suggested he might have suspicions he wasn't sharing. "The Grand Priest hasn't mentioned anything to me, but given the gravity of his words, I believe we should all be prepared for significant changes." The celebration continued, but the mood had shifted.
Everyone was going through the motions, but their minds were elsewhere, wondering what cosmic machinations were unfolding around them. Goku excused himself early, finding a quiet spot on top of one of Capsule Corporation's buildings. He sat cross-legged, attempting to meditate as Whis had taught him. If tomorrow was going to be as important as Grand Priest suggested, he needed to be at his best. He closed his eyes and reached inward, trying to sense that place where Ultra Instinct had come from. It was like grasping at smoke. He could almost feel it, but the moment he tried to hold on to it, it slipped away. I wonder what Zeno wants, and why me specifically. There are way stronger people he could talk to if there's some kind of threat. But deep down, in that instinctive part of himself that had kept him alive through countless battles, Goku felt that something monumental was beginning. The Tournament of Power was the end of one chapter, but tomorrow would mark the beginning of something far greater. As night fell over Earth, Goku finally found a measure of peace in his meditation. His breathing slowed, his heartbeat steadied, and for just a moment he felt that familiar sensation, his body moving without thought, his consciousness expanding beyond normal limitations. A flicker of silver danced around his aura before fading. "Almost there," he whispered, a small smile playing at his lips. Across the cosmos, in the palace of the Omni King, Grand Priest returned and bowed before Zeno. "I've delivered your message, my lord. Goku will come tomorrow."
"Good," Zeno replied, his childlike voice carrying unusual solemnity. "Grand Priest, I want you to begin preparing the special training dimension. If we're going to do this, we need to do it right." "The special training dimension hasn't been used in millions of years, my lord. Are you certain? The pressure in that space is enough to pulverize even the strongest gods of destruction." "I know," Zeno acknowledged. "But if Goku is going to become my successor, he needs to surpass every limit we can imagine. Normal training won't be enough. He needs to be pushed beyond the breaking point, again and again, until his body and spirit adapt to forces that would annihilate anyone else." Grand Priest nodded slowly, beginning to understand the full scope of his lord's plan. "You're not just training him to be strong, you're training him to be invincible." "Exactly. Because when the sacred gods learn they've been revived, when they come seeking revenge, Goku will be the only thing standing between them and the complete destruction of the multiverse." Zeno's expression was grave. "I couldn't stop them alone before. But Goku, he has something I don't have. He has potential without limit. And that's what we'll need." In Universe 13, Hamura worked tirelessly, weaving together an observation construct of unprecedented sophistication. It would take the form of pure consciousness, capable of slipping through dimensional barriers undetected and gathering information. But he needed it to be more than that. He needed something that could test the waters, provoke a response, and measure the current strength of the forces in the lesser universes. "If there truly is a warrior who has achieved Ultra Instinct, I need to see it for myself," he muttered, his hands weaving patterns of energy that bent space and time. "I'll create something special, a puppet with a fragment of my power designed to mimic and adapt to whatever it encounters." The construct took shape before him, a shapeless mass of energy that could assume any form necessary. He programmed it with a singular purpose: infiltrate the palace of the Omni King, observe, and if possible, engage any threats to test their capabilities. "Go," he commanded, sending the construct hurtling through the dimensional barriers. The puppet phased through reality, invisible and intangible, making its way towards Zeno's domain. It would arrive just as Goku did, setting in motion a confrontation that would shake the foundations of existence itself. Everything was in motion now. The sacred gods had returned. Goku was about to learn of his cosmic destiny,
and ancient powers long forgotten were beginning to stir in the darkness between realities. The next day arrived with deceptive calm. Goku woke early, his Saiyan instincts sharp and alert despite the late night. He went through his morning routine mechanically, his mind already focused on whatever awaited him at the palace of the Omni King. Chi-Chi, sensing his unusual preoccupation, didn't even try to delay him with breakfast. "Whatever this is about, Goku, be careful. I have a bad feeling about all of this." "Don't worry, Chi-Chi," Goku reassured her, though his expression remained serious. "Zeno's my friend. Whatever he wants to talk about, I'm sure it'll be fine." But even as he said the words, he wasn't entirely convinced. The Grand Priest's warning echoed in his mind. This concerns the future of all existence. Grand Priest arrived precisely at dawn, his timing impeccable as always. "Are you ready, Goku?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Goku replied, taking his fighting stance out of habit before relaxing. "Let's go." The journey to the palace of the Omni King was instantaneous, space and time bending to Grand Priest's will. One moment they were on Earth, the next they stood in the ethereal throne room where Zeno held court. But something was different. Instead of two Zeno-samas, the present one and the future one who had merged timelines, there was only one. The fusion was complete, creating a singular being with the combined consciousness and power of both incarnations. Goku's eyes widened. "Zeno, what happened? Where's the other you?" Zeno smiled, but there was something different about him now. More focused, more ancient. "Goku, I'm glad you came. And to answer your question, I merged with my other self. What I need to tell you is too important to remain divided." The gravity of that statement hit Goku immediately. For Zeno to take such a drastic step meant whatever was coming was beyond serious. "Lord Zeno wishes to discuss a proposition with you."
But first, you need to understand the history behind this decision. Zeno floated down from his throne, coming to stand directly in front of Goku. For the first time since they'd met, the Omni King's expression was completely serious, without a trace of his usual childlike playfulness. "Millions of years ago, there were 18 universes, not 12, Zeno began. "The 6 that are missing, I didn't erase them because they were weak or interesting. I erased them because they were too strong." Goku's eyes widened. "Too strong? But you're the strongest being in existence." "I am," Zeno acknowledged, "but those 6 universes contained gods and warriors whose power grew without limit. Every time I tried to contain them, they adapted and became stronger. Eventually, their corruption, their endless hunger for more power threatened everything. I had no choice but to destroy them completely." "But it nearly killed me," Zeno continued, his voice dropping. "Using that much power, fighting beings who could actually resist my erasure, it damaged something fundamental within me. I won, but at a cost." Grand Priest took over the explanation. "The sacred gods of those 6 universes possessed abilities beyond normal divine limits. Their potential was exponential, their growth seemingly endless. Lord Zeno managed to eliminate them, but it required him to expend power he could never fully recover." Goku listened intently, his warrior's instinct telling him where this was leading. "And you think they might come back?" "Not might," Zeno corrected grimly. "The wish made on the Super Dragon Balls inadvertently restored them. I can sense it. The seal I placed on their erasure has been broken. The sacred gods are alive again, and when they realize what happened, they'll come for revenge." The throne room fell silent as the weight of this revelation settled over them. Goku's mind raced, processing the implications. Gods stronger than Zeno, beings that nearly killed the Omni King himself, were now free and undoubtedly angry. "That's why you wanted to talk to me," Goku said slowly. "You need help fighting them." "More than that," Zeno replied.
his eyes meeting Goku's with unwavering intensity. "I want you to become my successor. I want to give you a portion of my power and train you to become the next Omni King. Because if the sacred gods return at full strength, and if I face them in my current weakened state, I lose. And if I lose, every universe, every reality will be destroyed." The declaration hung in the air like a thunderclap. Even Grand Priest, who knew this was coming, felt the momentous weight of the words. Goku stood frozen, his expression cycling through shock, disbelief, and finally settling on something approaching understanding. "You want me to become the Omni King? But that's insane. I'm just a Saiyan from Earth. I'm not qualified to rule universes." "You don't need to rule them," Zeno clarified. "I'll handle the administrative aspects. What I need is someone with the power to protect them. And you've proven something incredibly rare, Goku. You achieved Ultra Instinct as a mortal. That technique which even gods struggle to grasp, you accessed through pure instinct and determination." "Lord Zeno is correct," added Grand Priest. "Your potential is unlike anything I've witnessed in my entire existence. You break through limits that should be absolute. You grow stronger with every battle, every challenge. That adaptability is exactly what's needed to face the sacred gods." Goku's mind was reeling. Become the Omni King? The responsibility, the power, the expectations, it was overwhelming. But as Goku looked at Zeno's serious expression, at Grand Priest's confident demeanor, something clicked. This wasn't about titles or authority. This was about protecting everyone he loved from a threat that could destroy everything. When he framed it that way, the decision became simple. "If I do this," Goku said carefully, "I'm not doing it to become some ruler. I'm doing it to protect everyone. My friends, my family, all the universes. That's the only reason I'd accept." A smile broke across Zeno's face, genuine relief mixed with pride. "That's exactly why you're the right choice. You're not power hungry. You don't crave authority. You just want to protect those you care about. That's what makes you worthy." "However," Grand Priest interjected, his tone becoming stern, "you must understand what this training will entail. The power Lord Zeno wishes to grant you cannot simply be given. Your body and spirit must be tempered to withstand it. The training will be agonizing beyond anything you've experienced. You'll be pushed to the brink of death repeatedly. There will be moments where you'll want to give up, where continuing seems impossible." Goku's expression shifted into that familiar fighting grin that had carried him through countless battles. "Sounds like fun. When do we start?" Grand Priest couldn't help but shake his head in amazement. Only Goku would hear about training that would push him to the brink of death repeatedly and respond with enthusiasm. "We'll begin immediately," Grand Priest announced. "But first, you need to understand what you'll be facing. The sacred gods aren't just strong, they're masters of combat with millions of years of experience. Their techniques are refined to perfection. Their power control is absolute, and their strongest warrior, Ryuma, actually managed to wound Lord Zeno during their final battle."
"Then I'll just have to get strong enough to beat him," Goku replied with simple confidence. "I've never backed down from a challenge before, and I'm not starting now." Zeno floated forward and placed his small hand on Goku's shoulder. Despite his diminutive size, the gesture carried immense weight. "Thank you, friend. I know this isn't what you expected when you came here today, but I truly believe you're the only one who can do this." "Just one question," Goku said. "How long do we have before these sacred gods show up?" Grand Priest and Zeno exchanged glances. "That's difficult to predict," Grand Priest admitted. "They'll need time to assess their situation, gather information, and plan their approach. I estimate we have perhaps 2 to 3 weeks before they attempt to confront us." 2 to 3 weeks to prepare for gods that nearly killed Zeno, Goku mused, the reality of the timeline sinking in. "Okay, then we can't waste a single second. Let's start training right now." "Excellent attitude," Grand Priest approved. "Then allow me to explain how this will proceed. First, you'll undergo basic conditioning under my pressure.
I'll gradually increase the gravitational and metaphysical weight bearing down on you until your body adapts. This alone would take most beings thousands of years to master. You'll need to do it in days. After that, we'll move to the special training dimensions Lord Zeno mentioned. These are pocket realities where the fundamental forces of nature are amplified to extreme levels. Simply existing in those spaces requires power beyond most gods of destruction. You'll need to survive there while simultaneously mastering the energy Lord Zeno will begin transferring to you. Goku's excitement was palpable despite the daunting description. This was exactly the kind of challenge he lived for, something seemingly impossible that would push him beyond every limit he'd ever encountered. "Let's do this," he declared, energy already crackling around his body as he powered up to Super Saiyan Blue. "I'm ready." "Not quite yet," Grand Priest said, raising one finger. "Before we begin, there's one more thing you should know. While you're training, the sacred gods will not be idle. They're undoubtedly gathering information about current cosmic conditions. There's a possibility they may attempt to scout our defenses or even launch a preemptive strike. If that happens," Zeno added seriously, "you may need to fight before you're fully prepared. The training is designed to get you as strong as possible as quickly as possible, but there are no guarantees we'll have the time we need." Goku's expression sobered. The reality of the situation was sinking in fully now. This wasn't a tournament with rules and referees. This was war. Cosmic war that would determine the fate of all reality. "I understand," he said quietly. "Then let's make every moment count." Grand Priest nodded approvingly. "Your determination is admirable. Now let's begin with something simple." He raised his hand and immediately an invisible force slammed down on Goku like a mountain falling from the sky. Goku's knees buckled, his Super Saiyan Blue form flickering as the pressure threatened to overwhelm him. It felt like every cell in his body was being compressed, like gravity had multiplied 1,000,000-fold in an instant. "This is just 5% of my full pressure," Grand Priest announced calmly. "At your current level, you should be able to withstand this much without significant difficulty. Let me know when you've adapted, and we'll increase it." Goku gritted his teeth, muscles straining as he fought to remain standing. 5%? This is only 5%? The gap between him and Grand Priest was even larger than he'd imagined. But rather than feeling discouraged, Goku felt that familiar fire ignite in his chest. The bigger the challenge, the more excited he became. This was what being a martial artist was all about, confronting the impossible and surpassing it through sheer determination and growth. "I'm not done yet," he forced out through clenched teeth, gradually straightening his posture. His aura flared brighter as he channeled more power, reinforcing his body against the crushing pressure. Zeno watched with satisfaction. "That's the spirit. You can do it, Goku." As the first day of training began, none of them knew that Hamura's observation construct had just breached the dimensional barriers and was approaching the palace of the Omni King. The puppet moved through space like a phantom, invisible to normal senses, gathering data on everything it encountered. It recorded the energy signatures of the angels stationed throughout the multiverse. It analyzed the dimensional structure of Zeno's domain, and most importantly, it detected the massive surge of power coming from the training area where Goku was beginning his transformation into something beyond mortal comprehension. The construct's artificial intelligence processed this information with cold efficiency. A Saiyan being trained by the Grand Priest himself. Power fluctuations indicating ultra instinct potential, and most intriguing, traces of Omni King energy beginning to merge with the mortal's biological signature. Hamura, observing through the construct's sensors from Universe 13, felt his blood run cold. "Impossible," he breathed. "That bastard Zeno is actually trying to create a successor, and he's using a mortal as the vessel?" His analytical mind immediately began calculating implications. If successful, this warrior would possess both the adaptability of a mortal and the authority of an Omni King. That's potentially more dangerous than Zeno himself. He needed more information. The construct needed to get closer, to observe the training directly and assess this Saiyan's true potential. Hamura commanded the puppet to infiltrate deeper, to position itself where it could witness everything. But as the construct approached the training chamber, Grand Priest's eyes suddenly flickered with awareness. His angelic senses, honed over eons, detected the faintest disturbance in the fabric of space. "My lord," he said quietly, not ceasing his pressure on Goku, but shifting his attention slightly. "We have an observer. Someone is watching us from beyond the dimensional barriers." Zeno's expression hardened. "The sacred gods, they're already making their move." "Indeed, and whoever sent this construct is highly skilled. I almost didn't detect it." Grand Priest's normally calm demeanor took on an edge of cold threat. "Shall I destroy it?" In nearby galaxies trembled. The very fabric of reality groaned under the strain of their clashing powers. Goku immediately understood he was outmatched in raw strength. Ryuma's single punch carried force equivalent to his strongest Kamehameha, but Ultra Instinct gave him an advantage. Perfect movement, flawless dodging, attacks that landed with surgical precision. They exchanged hundreds of blows in seconds. Goku's instinct-driven movements allowed him to weave through Ryuma's assault, finding gaps in his offense that shouldn't exist. His counters landed on pressure points, joints, anywhere that might create an opening. But Ryuma wasn't affected. Each of Goku's strikes, which should have been devastating, seemed to barely register. The sacred god's body was so tremendously durable, forged through eons of combat and divine enhancement, that even Ultra Instinct-powered attacks couldn't penetrate his defenses meaningfully. Worse, Ryuma was adapting. His initial attacks had been straightforward, testing Goku's capabilities, but with each exchange, his technique became more refined, his movements more unpredictable. He was learning Goku's patterns, analyzing the way Ultra Instinct operated. "Impressive evasion," Ryuma acknowledged, his tone clinical. "Your body moves before your mind can process danger. But let's see how you handle this." His energy signature suddenly spiked. The pressure emanating from him increased tenfold, and his speed jumped to a level that even Ultra Instinct struggled to track. Goku found himself on the defensive, barely avoiding strikes that would have obliterated him. Then Ryuma did something unexpected. He stopped trying to hit Goku directly. Instead, he struck the space around him, creating shockwaves that couldn't be dodged because they affected everything in a radius. Goku's instinct told him to move, but there was nowhere to move to. The attack was omnidirectional. The impact drove Goku to his knees, blood spraying from his mouth. Several ribs cracked from the internal pressure. His Ultra Instinct flickered momentarily, the pain disrupting his mental clarity. "You're strong for a mortal," Ryuma said, not even breathing heavily. "But this is the difference between us. You've had mere decades of training. I've had millennia to perfect techniques designed to counter every possible defense. Your Ultra Instinct is formidable, but it's not invincible." Goku struggled to his feet, spitting blood. His Ultra Instinct stabilized again, the silver aura flaring brighter than before. Pain was sharpening his focus rather than dulling it. His Saiyan biology, which grew stronger through combat, was already working to adapt. "You're right," Goku admitted, his voice strained but determined. "I've got way more experience than you. But you know what? I've got something you don't." "And what's that?" Ryuma asked, genuinely curious. "I've got people counting on me." Goku's aura exploded outward, his power spiking dramatically. "My family, my friends, entire universe is full of people who deserve to live without fear. That's my strength, and it's way more powerful than any technique." The emotional core of his declaration resonated with something deep in his energy. The silver aura of Ultra Instinct suddenly took on a subtle blue tint, traces of his God Ki bleeding through, enhanced by the Omni King essence Zeno had been gradually transferring to him over the past days. Ryuma's eyes widened fractionally. "Interesting. Your power is evolving mid-battle. That's the trait of Yamoshi's bloodline, exponential growth under pressure, so the legends were true. He vanished from sight, reappearing behind Goku with a devastating kick aimed at his spine. But this time, Goku's enhanced instinct read the attack perfectly. He twisted in midair, catching Ryuma's leg and using the momentum to swing himself around and deliver a powerful knee strike to the sacred god's jaw. For the first time, Ryuma's head actually moved from the impact.
It was barely a few centimeters, and he showed no signs of actual damage, but the fact that he'd moved at all shocked everyone watching. Grand Priest, still engaged with Draoria and Neon, felt a surge of hope. Goku was actually improving during the fight. Ryuma touched his jaw, examining his fingers as if expecting to find blood. There was none, but his expression had shifted from dismissive superiority to genuine interest. "You actually made me feel that. Not pain, precisely, but impact. You're growing stronger with each exchange." "Told you," Goku replied, breathing hard but grinning despite his injuries. "I'm just getting started." They clashed again, and this time the battle was more even. Goku's power was escalating rapidly, his body adapting to Ryuma's techniques, his instincts learning to predict movements that had been invisible moments before. The gap between them was still enormous, but it was narrowing. Ryuma recognized this and made a decision. "I see now why Zeno chose you. Given enough time, you might actually become a legitimate threat. Therefore, I'll end this before you can grow any stronger." His entire demeanor changed. The measured, analytical approach vanished, replaced by overwhelming aggression. His aura exploded outward, taking on a dark crimson hue that seemed to absorb light itself. This was his true power, the level he'd used when fighting Zeno millions of years ago. "Devastation of the ancients," he intoned, his voice resonating with cosmic authority. Energy began gathering above his head, coalescing into a sphere of concentrated destruction. The power contained within it was staggering, enough to erase entire universes if unleashed at full force. Goku recognized immediately what was happening. This was an execution technique designed to eliminate threats too dangerous to allow to escape. If that attack landed, nothing of him would remain. He had seconds to respond, and only one option presented itself. Drawing on every ounce of power within him, the Ultra Instinct, the God Key, the traces of Omni King essence, his Saiyan battle spirit, Goku began forming his own attack. The Kamehameha had been his signature technique since childhood. He'd used it thousands of times, refined it through countless battles. Now he would push it beyond anything he'd ever achieved. Ka-me-he. The energy sphere forming between his palms wasn't just blue or silver, it was a swirling vortex of multiple energies, perfectly balanced, impossibly dense. Reality itself seemed to warp around it. Ryuma finished gathering his attack first. The sphere above his head had grown to the size of a small moon, pulsing with apocalyptic power. "Die with honor, Saiyan." He launched the devastation of the ancients directly at Goku. Ha! The Kamehameha erupted from Goku's hands, meeting the incoming sphere head-on. The collision was cataclysmic. The entire palace of the Omni King shook violently. Dimensional barriers that had stood for eons began cracking under the strain. Angels throughout the multiverse felt the shockwave and looked up in alarm. Goku poured everything into his beam, his body pushed beyond all limits. He could feel his energy reserves depleting rapidly, but he couldn't stop. If this attack broke through, everyone would die. For several agonizing seconds, the two techniques were perfectly matched, neither gaining ground. Then, Ryuma began pouring more power into his attack, and the balance shifted. The devastation of the ancients started pushing back against the Kamehameha, slowly but inexorably, advancing towards Goku. "Impossible," Goku gritted out, his arms trembling from the strain. "I can't let it through." But his body was reaching its limit. The energy reserves weren't infinite. His muscles were tearing themselves apart from the effort. Blood vessels burst throughout his body. His vision was starting to blur. Then he felt it, a hand on his shoulder.
Zeno had broken away from his own battle and positioned himself behind Goku. "You're not alone, friend. Let me help." Divine energy flowed from the Omni King into Goku, bolstering his flagging strength. The Kamehameha surged with renewed power, its color shifting to incorporate brilliant white light. The balance shifted back towards equilibrium. "No!" Zeno snarled, recognizing what was happening. "This is between me and the Saiyan. Don't interfere." "He's my successor," Zeno shot back, his childlike voice carrying steel, "which means he's my responsibility, and I protect what's mine." More energy poured into Goku, his body, on the verge of collapse moments ago, stabilized. The Kamehameha began pushing back against the devastation of the ancients, actually gaining ground now. Ryuma's expression twisted with frustration. He'd come here to decisively prove the sacred god's superiority, but instead found himself being pushed back by a mortal boosted by the Omni King. Zeno's power. Worse, he was expending massive amounts of energy in this clash, energy he'd need if the battle dragged on. He made a tactical decision. All forces, tactical withdrawal, now. Homura immediately created a dimensional rift. Drauria and Neon disengaged from Grand Priest, retreating toward the portal despite their protests. Cirrus followed suit, his strategic mind recognizing the wisdom in preserving the strength. Ryuma released his attack, allowing the Kamehameha to surge forward, but he'd already begun moving, his tremendous speed carrying him toward the dimensional rift. The beam missed him by centimeters, continuing on to obliterate several uninhabited dimensions beyond the palace. Just before disappearing through the portal, Ryuma locked eyes with Goku one final time. "This isn't over, Saiyan. Next time we meet, I'll be prepared for your tricks, and Zeno won't be able to save you." Then, they were gone, the dimensional rift closing behind them. Goku immediately collapsed, his Ultra Instinct failing as his consciousness faded. Every injury he'd sustained, temporarily ignored by adrenaline and divine power, suddenly made themselves known. His body was a wreck, broken bones, torn muscles, depleted energy reserves. Grand Priest was beside him instantly, healing energy flowing into Goku's battered form. "Easy, Mr. Goku. You've done extraordinarily well. Few beings in existence could have stood against Ryuma like you did." "Did we win?" Goku managed to ask through gritted teeth. "They retreated," Zeno answered, his own energy dimmed from the assistance he had provided. "So, yes, in a sense, we won this engagement. You forced the strongest sacred god to withdraw. That's a victory by any measure." But Grand Priest's expression was grave. "However, this was merely a probing attack. They tested our defenses, measured Mr. Goku's current capabilities, and now they'll return to strategize. Next time, they'll come with a plan specifically designed to counter everything they witnessed today." As Goku's consciousness faded, drifting into healing sleep, his last thought was a simple one. "I need to get stronger, way stronger." In Universe 13, the sacred gods regrouped on Homura's planet. The mood was tense, the atmosphere crackling with frustrated energy. "We had them," Drauria raged, slamming his fist into a nearby mountain and reducing it to powder. "We should have pressed the advantage. Why did we retreat?" "Because Ryuma recognized we were being baited," Homura explained. His analytical mind already processed the entire encounter. "Zeno wanted us to expend our energy in a prolonged battle. The longer we stayed, the more of our capabilities we would have revealed. Retreating preserved our strategic advantage." "Ryuma is correct," Ryuma confirmed, his tone measured despite the frustration evident in his bearing. "That Saiyan is more dangerous than we anticipated. His growth during our battle was extraordinary. By the end, his attacks were actually beginning to affect me. If we'd stayed and continued fighting, he might have evolved even further." "But you were winning," Neon protested. "Your devastation of the ancients would have killed him if Zeno hadn't interfered." "And that interference proved Zeno is more recovered than we thought," Ryuma countered. "He was able to transfer significant power to the Saiyan without apparent strain. If we'd committed to a full assault and he used his erasure ability while we were weakened from battle, we could all have died." The logical assessment silenced the immediate protests, though Drauria still looked mutinous. Cirrus spoke up, his voice calm as always. "So, what's our next move? We can't simply wait. Every day that passes allows that Saiyan to grow stronger, but rushing in blindly will just repeat today's stalemate. We need an advantage, Hamura mused, his calculating mind already working through possibilities. Raw power isn't enough. We need leverage. What kind of leverage? Neon asked. Hamura's eyes gleamed with sudden inspiration. The Saiyan's weakness isn't his power or his technique. It's his emotional connections. He fights to protect others. That's both his greatest strength and his most exploitable vulnerability. You want to take hostages? Mikoshi's voice came from the doorway, having just arrived from her observation post. That seems beneath us. Not hostages, motivation. If we threaten the universes themselves, not Zeno's palace, but the actual populated universes, that Saiyan will have to divide his attention between protecting them and fighting us, and a divided Ultra Instinct is a weakened one. Ryuma considered the strategy, then slowly nodded. Acceptable. But we give them time first, say 5 more days. Let that Saiyan continue his training, let him think he's preparing adequately. Then we strike at multiple universes simultaneously. He can't be everywhere at once.
And while he's running around trying to save populations, Drooria added with growing enthusiasm, we launch our real assault on Zeno's palace with our full might. Precisely, Hamura confirmed. It's not honorable, but honor doesn't matter against extinction. We do what's necessary to ensure our survival and dominance. Mikoshi remained troubled by this approach, but she understood the pragmatism behind it. The sacred gods were backed into a corner. Either they found a way to eliminate this threat, or they risked being destroyed again, possibly permanently this time. 5 days then, Neon agreed. We plan, we prepare, and then we end this once and for all. Back at the palace of the Omni King, Goku had been moved to a recovery chamber where Grand Priest's healing energies worked to restore him. The process would take hours. His injuries had been that severe. Zeno and Grand Priest stood outside the chamber discussing the implications of the battle. His growth was remarkable, Grand Priest observed. In the span of a single fight, he went from being completely outmatched to actually landing effective hits on Ryuma. I've never witnessed potential manifest so rapidly. That's why he's perfect for this role, Zeno replied, but his expression was troubled. But Grand Priest, we need to accelerate the training even more. Ryuma was holding back significantly. I could sense it. If he'd used his full power, Goku wouldn't have survived, even with my assistance. Agreed, my lord. When Mr. Goku recovers, we need to take him to the special training dimension immediately, regardless of whether he's fully ready for it. The risks of that environment are great, but the risks of facing the sacred gods unprepared are greater. There's something else, Zeno added quietly. During the battle, when I was channeling power into Goku, I felt something unusual. His body wasn't just accepting my energy, it was adapting to it, integrating it into his own power structure. It's as if his physiology is specifically designed to absorb and utilize divine essences. Grand Priest's eyes widened at this revelation. That's the legendary trait of Yamoshi's bloodline. The stories say he could take power from any source, divine, demonic, cosmic, and make it his own. If Mr. Goku possesses that ability, then given enough power sources and enough time, his potential truly might be limitless. But time is what we don't have. The sacred gods won't make the same mistake twice. Their next attack will be coordinated, overwhelming, and designed to exploit every weakness they identified today. Then we train Mr. Goku like his life depends on it, Grand Priest stated firmly, because it does. All our lives do. Inside the recovery chamber, Goku's unconscious mind was anything but restful. His Saiyan instincts were processing the battle, analyzing every moment, learning from every exchange. Even in sleep, he was growing stronger, his body adapting to the trauma it had endured. And deep within his genetic code, something ancient was awakening, a legacy passed down through generations, dormant until circumstances forced it to manifest. The blood of Yamoshi, the legendary Super Saiyan god, ran through Goku's veins, and it was beginning to remember what it was capable of.
When Goku finally awoke several hours later, his eyes opened with crystal clarity. The pain was gone, replaced by a sense of vitality he'd never experienced before. Grand Priest entered the chamber, sensing his awakening. "How are you feeling, Mr. Goku?" "Better than ever, actually." He flexed his fingers experimentally. "That fight with Ryuma, I learned so much from it. All his techniques, his timing, his power, my body absorbed all of it. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like I could fight him again right now and do way better." "That's your Saiyan biology combined with Yamoshi's genetic legacy," Grand Priest explained. "Every battle you make makes you stronger. Every technique you witness becomes part of your arsenal. It's why Lord Zeno chose you specifically." "How long was I out?" 8 hours, which means we've lost precious training time." Grand Priest's expression became serious. "Mr. Goku, we need to make a decision. Your body has recovered, but you haven't yet reached the point where you can comfortably withstand 100% of my pressure. However, the sacred god's next attack could come at any time, and we may not have the luxury of gradual progression anymore." "You want to take me to that special training dimension," Goku intuited, "even though I'm not fully ready." "Yes. The risk is considerable. The pressure there could literally tear you apart. But if you survive the initial exposure, your growth will be exponential. It's a calculated gamble with your life as the stakes." Goku didn't even hesitate. "Let's do it. I didn't come this far to play it safe. If that dimension can make me strong enough to protect everyone, then that's where I need to be."
Grand Priest had expected this response, but he still felt compelled to emphasize the danger. "Mr. Goku, I need you to understand something clearly. In that dimension, death is not a hypothetical risk. It's a likely outcome if your willpower falters even slightly. The pressure is so intense that even your ultra instinct won't automatically protect you. You'll need to consciously adapt, continuously, every single moment. 1 second of weakness, and your body will be crushed to atoms." "I get it," Goku replied, his expression serious but unwavering. "But I also get that if I don't take this risk, everyone I care about dies anyway when the sacred gods come back. So really, there's only one choice." Grand Priest studied him for a long moment, then nodded with something approaching respect. "Very well. Lord Zeno has already given his approval. We'll enter the special training dimension immediately. But first, there's something you need to have." He produced a small luminous pearl from within his robes. The object radiated power so intense that even looking at it made Goku's eyes water. Energy swirled within its crystalline depths, ancient, primal, and utterly wild. This is the Beast Energy Pearl. It contains the essence of an ancient entity that existed before the multiverse itself. Even Lord Zeno couldn't fully control its power. Legend says only Yamoshi ever managed to integrate its energy completely. "And you want me to absorb it?" Goku asked, simultaneously excited and apprehensive. "Not just absorb, master. The beast within this pearl is conscious and willful. It will test you, try to dominate your mind and body. But if you can prove yourself worthy, if you can tame that ancient power, it will grant you strength beyond anything you've achieved so far." Zeno materialized beside them, his expression grave. "Goku, my friend, this is your final test before we enter the special dimension. If you can master the Beast Pearl, you'll have the raw power needed to survive that environment. But you need to do it on your own. Grand Priest and I can't help you with this. The beast only respects individual strength." Goku took the pearl, feeling its power thrumming against his palm. It was like holding a miniature sun, hot, intense, barely contained. "When do I start?" "Now," Grand Priest replied. "But you'll do it inside the special dimension. The pressure there will force you to adapt quickly or die. It's brutal, but it's the fastest way." "And the most dangerous," Zeno added. "If you lose control of the beast's power in that environment, the combination could create a reaction that destroys not just you, but potentially this entire dimensional plane." "No pressure then," Goku joked weakly, trying to lighten the mood. When neither Grand Priest nor Zeno smiled, he sobered.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Grand Priest raised his staff and space began warping around them. Reality folded in on itself in ways that shouldn't be possible, dimensions stacking and compressing until they stood before a door that seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Beyond this threshold is the special training dimension, Grand Priest announced, his voice carrying unusual weight. Once you enter, the door will seal for a minimum of 24 hours. During that time, no one can enter or exit. Not me, not Lord Zeno, no one. You'll be completely alone with the Beast Pearl and the crushing pressure of that reality. If you're still alive after 24 hours, the door will open again, Zeno continued. But, Mr. Goku, I want you to know, even if you don't succeed, even if the worst happens, you've already proven yourself worthy. You've earned my respect and my friendship. That will never change. Goku grinned, some of his natural confidence returning. Thanks, Zeno, but I'm not planning on dying in there. I've got way too many things I still want to do, like eat Chi-Chi's cooking again, and train with Vegeta, and watch Goten and Trunks grow up. So I'll see you in 24 hours, stronger than ever. With that declaration, he stepped through the door. The moment he crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind him with such finality that it seemed to echo through eternity. And then the pressure hit him. If Grand Priest's 48% had been crushing, this was annihilation incarnate. Goku's bones instantly fractured under the strain. His muscles tore. Blood vessels burst throughout his body. He collapsed to his knees, then fell face first onto the ground, unable to even scream because his lungs had compressed too much to draw breath. This was beyond anything he had imagined. Every cell in his body was being simultaneously crushed, torn, and incinerated by forces that made black holes seem gentler. And in that moment of ultimate crisis, the Beast Pearl activated. Power flooded into him, raw, primal, and absolutely merciless. The beast's essence didn't ask permission or wait for acceptance. It forced itself into Goku's body, filling every cell, overwhelming his existing energy structure. Goku's eyes snapped open, but they weren't his eyes anymore. They were silver with flecks of primal red, the beast looking out through his body, assessing, judging. Weak. This vessel is too weak to contain me. I will find another host. The beast's energy began withdrawing, preparing to abandon Goku's failing body, and if that happened, without the beast's energy reinforcing him, Goku would be crushed to nothing within seconds.
But something in Goku refused to accept that fate. "No!" he forced out, his voice barely a whisper. "You don't get to decide." The beast paused, intrigued. "You dare command me, mortal? I am ancient beyond your comprehension. I existed before your gods, before your universes. What makes you think you have any authority over my power?" "Because," Goku's fingers dug into the ground, his body trembling with effort as he tried to push himself up despite the crushing pressure. "Because I'm not asking for permission, I'm taking it." Pure Saiyan will, refined through thousands of battles, erupted from somewhere deep within him. This was the same determination that had allowed him to stand against gods as a mortal, to achieve transformations thought impossible, to defy fate itself time and again. The beast felt this will, and for the first time in its ancient existence, felt something approaching surprise. "Interesting. Your body is broken, your energy depleted, yet your spirit refuses to bend. Very well, mortal. I will grant you a trial. Survive the fusion of our powers, and I will serve you. Fail, and both of us perish in this cursed dimension." The power that had been withdrawing suddenly surged back with 10 times the intensity. It wasn't just entering Goku's body now, it was rewriting him at the fundamental level. His Saiyan cells, his divine ki, his ultra instinct foundation, everything was being restructured around the beast's ancient energy. The pain was indescribable.
It made the dimensional pressure seem like a gentle massage by comparison. Goku's body was being simultaneously destroyed and rebuilt, torn apart and reformed, killed and resurrected in a continuous cycle. His screams echoed through the empty dimension, raw and primal, but he didn't stop. He couldn't stop, because stopping meant death, meant failure, meant everyone he loved would be destroyed by the sacred gods. So he endured. Hours passed in agony. His body adapted and evolved, incorporating the beast's power into his fundamental structure. Silver fur began growing across his body, not just his hair transforming, but actual biological changes as the beast's essence merged with his physiology. His musculature increased, becoming denser and more efficient. His bones restructured, becoming harder than any substance in the normal universe. His energy pathways expanded and multiplied, able to channel power that would have incinerated his previous form. And through it all, the dimensional pressure continued bearing down, refining the changes, forcing perfection through sheer necessity. Slowly, impossibly, Goku began to stand. First to his hands and knees, then to a crouch, and finally, after what felt like an eternity, to his feet. The pressure that had been crushing him was still immense, but now his transformed body could withstand it. The beast's voice resonated through his mind again, but this time with a note of approval. "Impressive, mortal. You have survived what should have destroyed you. But survival is not mastery. Show me you can wield my power with control, not just endure it." Goku closed his eyes, centering himself. The beast's power was wild, chaotic, demanding to be unleashed in pure destruction. But he needed control, needed to harmonize this ancient force with his ultra instinct, his divine key, everything that made him who he was. It was like trying to conduct an orchestra where every instrument wanted to play a different song. The beast's energy wanted to rampage, his Saiyan instincts wanted to fight, his ultra instinct sought perfect calm, his God key demanded divine refinement. Somehow he needed to make them all work together. He thought about his training with Whis, lessons about balance and harmony. He remembered Vegeta's words about pride and purpose. He recalled Master Roshi's teachings about the turtle and the crane, two seemingly opposite philosophies working in tandem. And slowly, gradually, the chaotic energies began to synchronize. The silver fur that had grown wild across his body became sleek and controlled. The beast's red highlights in his eyes softened, blending with the silver instead of overpowering it. His aura, which had been a violent storm, became a controlled inferno, immensely powerful but precisely directed. When Goku opened his eyes again, he was transformed in a way that transcended simple power increases. This wasn't just a new form, it was a fundamental evolution of his being. "I've done it! I've actually tamed the Beast Pearl!" The beast's voice responded, and this time there was unmistakable respect in its tone. "You have proven yourself worthy, Son Goku. My power is yours to command. Use it well." For the first time since entering the dimension, Goku felt like he could actually move freely. The pressure was still there, still immense, but his evolved body handled it with relative ease. He took a few experimental steps, then broke into a jog, then started doing training exercises. "This is incredible." He threw a few punches, amazed at the speed and power behind them. "I can feel the difference. I'm not just stronger, I'm fundamentally different now. My body, my energy, everything has changed." Outside the dimension, only 30 minutes had passed in normal time, but Grand Priest and Zeno could sense the massive energy fluctuations occurring beyond the sealed door. "The power readings are off the charts," Grand Priest reported, his staff glowing as it analyzed the dimensional feedback. "Mr. Goku is either achieving something unprecedented, or he's about to cause a catastrophic explosion that could destroy this entire sector of reality," Grand Priest finished grimly. Zeno stared at the sealed door with concern. Should we try to open it early? If something goes wrong, we can't, my lord. The dimensional lock is absolute. Even your power cannot breach it before the 24-hour period expires. We can only wait and hope Mr. Goku succeeds. Inside the dimension, Goku was testing his new limits. He discovered that with the Beast Pearl's power integrated into his body, he could maintain Ultra Instinct indefinitely without the usual energy drain. The beast's seemingly limitless stamina had solved one of his biggest weaknesses. More than that, his combat instincts had sharpened to an unprecedented degree. He could sense things he'd never noticed before: the flow of dimensional energy, the subtle weaknesses in reality's fabric, the way power moved through space itself. "All right," he said to himself, dropping into a training stance. "I've got about 23 hours left in here. Time to see just how strong I've become." He began pushing himself through exercises, each one designed to test a different aspect of his new power. Speed drills that created afterimages stretching across the dimension, strength tests that created craters in the indestructible floor, energy control exercises that wove complex patterns of ki through the air. With each passing hour, he grew more comfortable with his transformed state. The beast's power and his own essence weren't just coexisting, they were synergizing, creating combinations neither could achieve alone. But as he trained, he became aware of something else watching him from somewhere beyond this dimension. It felt vast, incomprehensibly powerful, and distinctly curious. High above even the sacred universes, in the realm of the celestial gods, Gilgamesh observed Goku's transformation with golden eyes that had witnessed the birth and death of countless realities. "Fascinating," he murmured, his voice carrying power that could unmake dimensions. "The mortal has successfully integrated the Beast Pearl. Not even the previous Omni King could accomplish that feat." He leaned forward in his throne, genuinely intrigued. "Perhaps this timeline will prove more interesting than I anticipated. The sacred gods think they're the apex of power, but they're about to learn there are forces far beyond their comprehension." He waved his hand, and a window opened showing the sacred universes where Ryuma and the others were preparing their next assault. Let them have their war. Let them push this Saiyan to his absolute limits, and when they've exhausted themselves, a smile crossed his perfect features. Back in Universe 13, Hamura was conducting his final preparations. His observation constructs had confirmed that Goku had entered the special training dimension, which meant he would be isolated for at least a full day. "This is our window," he announced to the assembled sacred gods. "While the Saiyan is trapped in that dimension, we strike at the heart of the lower universes. Zeno and the Grand Priest can't defend 12 universes simultaneously." Ryuma nodded, his battle strategy already formulated. "Draria, you take Universe 7, the Saiyan's home. Destroy it completely. That will shatter his focus even if he survives his training." "With pleasure," Draria growled, his draconic energy flaring. "Neon, you target Universe 6, Ryuma continued. "Cirrus, Universe 11. Hamura, you'll coordinate our assault and provide tactical support. I'll personally assault the palace of the Omni King and keep Zeno and the Grand Priest occupied." "And Mikoshi?" Neon asked. "She remains in our universes as last line of defense," Ryuma replied. "If this is somehow a trap, we need someone who can retreat and preserve our knowledge and power." "When do we attack?" Cirrus asked calmly. "Now." Ryuma's power exploded outward, his aura visible across dimensional boundaries. "The age of the sacred gods begins today, and it begins with the complete subjugation of these inferior universes." Dimensional rifts tore open as the four sacred gods departed, each heading towards their designated target. The cosmic war was about to escalate beyond anything the multiverse had witnessed in millions of years.
Inside the sealed dimension, Goku froze mid-strike. His fist stopped a hair from the empty air, and for the first time, since the Beast Pearl had rewritten his body, his aura went completely still. Something had touched him, not a sound, not a light, not anything his eyes could catch. It was a feeling that came, crawling up through the floor of a reality that was supposed to be cut off from every other reality in existence, screaming, very far away, and very many voices at once. "No," he says quietly. "No, no, no, that's Earth. I can feel Vegeta. Why can I feel Vegeta?" The beast's voice rolled through the back of his skull, calm the way only something older than the multiverse can be calm. "Because I have opened your senses, Son Goku. You are no longer confined to what your eyes can reach. You are hearing your world die. Then open the door." There is no door for you to open. The seal answers to the angel and to the king, and both of them stand outside it. 22 hours remain. Sit, train, grow strong on the corpses of what you loved. That is what power costs. Goku turned slowly, and his silver eyes had gone very cold. And guys, this is the moment where you realize the man Zeno picked is not the same man who walked into that dimension. "Yeah," he says, "that's not gonna work for me." He walked to the wall of the dimension. There was no wall, not really. The dimension had no edges, no ceiling, no horizon. It just went on forever in every direction, which was exactly the point of it. But Goku pressed his palm flat against nothing, and the nothing pressed back. "I can feel it," he says. "The seam, it's right here. You gave me this, remember? You said I could sense the weak points in reality, so I'm sensing one. You are sensing the strongest barrier the Grand Priest has ever constructed. It has held gods of destruction who begged to be released. Did any of them try from the inside?" The beast went silent. "That's what I thought," Goku says, and he drives his fist into the seam. The dimension screamed, not a shockwave, not an explosion, an actual sound, like a mountain of glass being bent in a direction. Glass was never meant to bend. The crushing pressure that had been grinding down on him for hours suddenly turned and rushed toward the crack he'd made, because that's what pressure does. It goes where there's an opening, and now all of that annihilating weight was pouring through a hole the width of a hair with Goku's arm inside it. His forearm shattered. He felt every bone in it go. He hit it again with the other hand. Outside, in the corridor of folded space, the Grand Priest's staff cracked in his grip. "My lord, the dimension is failing." "Failing?" Zeno's small voice came out sharp. "Failing how? Is he alive?" "He is doing it, my lord. He is unmaking the seal from inside it. That is not possible. I built that seal. I built it so that it could not be done. And then the door didn't open. The door was simply gone, along with a good portion of the space it had been standing in, and standing in the ruin of it was a shape wrapped in silver fire, one arm hanging wrong, breathing hard, hair long and pale and lifting, in an aura that had a low animal growl buried somewhere inside it. "Zeno," Goku says. "How many?" "4. "Goku, your arm." "How many?" he says again. "4 sacred gods, 4 targets, Earth, Universe 6, Universe 11, and here." The Grand Priest's voice was tight. "Mr. Goku, you cannot divide yourself. That is precisely the trap. They designed it so that whichever one you choose, the other 3 succeed." Goku looked at his broken arm, then he rolled the shoulder once, and you could hear the bone knitting itself back together, the beast's power running down the limb like fire down a fuse. "Then I'll just have to be faster than a trap," he says, and he was gone. Earth was already burning. Goku came down through the atmosphere so fast that the clouds didn't part for him. They evaporated in a ring 1,200 kilometers wide, and what he landed on was not a city anymore. Half of West City was gone, not destroyed, gone. The ground where it had been was smooth and glassy and slightly transparent, as if someone had taken the concept of a city and simply talked it out of existing. And in the middle of it, Vegeta was on one knee, His armor was cracked open across the chest, his hair was flickering, blue to gold to black and back again, and there was blood running out of both ears, and he was still trying to stand up. Standing over him was a woman made of shifting light, her outline running through solid and liquid and plasma and something that had no name, all in the space of a single breath. "Neon," Goku says. "Ah." She turned, and her face rippled through 3 different textures as she smiled. "The vessel, early. Get away from him, Kakarot." Vegeta's voice was wrecked. Don't touch her. My attacks pass straight through, you idiot. I've hit her 900 times and I have not hit her once." "I heard you," Goku says quietly. "In there, through the seal. You were shouting loud enough that I heard you through a wall that a god of destruction couldn't shout through." Vegeta's head came up. "I was not shouting. You were shouting my name. I was cursing your name. There is a difference, and you will learn it." And guys, even here, even standing on the grave of a city, that's Vegeta. Neon moved first. She crossed the distance without crossing it, her form going to pure plasma and simply arriving, and her hand went through Goku's chest, through it, not into it. Her arm came out the other side of his back, with no wound, no blood, nothing, and then Goku's knees buckled, and he coughed once, and what came out of his mouth was steam. "Do you understand what I do, Saiyan?" she says, twisting her hand, where it sat inside him. "I do not strike your body, I strike the forces that hold your body together. Every bond, every attraction, every rule that keeps your atoms agreeing to stay near one another. I am simply asking them to stop agreeing." Goku's skin began to crack, thin lines of light opening across his arms, his shoulders, his face, the way stone cracks before it comes apart. 900 punches, he says through his teeth. "What? Vegeta hit you 900 times. That means he was measuring you." He grabbed her wrist, not her arm, her wrist. At the exact instant, her form passed from plasma back towards solid, that quarter of a heartbeat where she had to be something in order to keep pushing. She had time to look surprised. Goku's head came forward into her face with the full weight of the beast behind it, and Neon, goddess of fundamental forces, who had not been touched in 11 million years, went across the glass, plain like a stone skipped over water. The silence afterward was enormous. Vegeta stared at him. "How? Your fight told me when she's solid," Goku says. "You gave me 900 samples. I just had to listen." Neon rose out of the crater, and her form was not shifting cleanly anymore. It stuttered. There was blood on her mouth, and she looked at it on her fingers the way Ryuma had, like the substance was unfamiliar. "Impossible. You are immortal." "Yeah, people keep telling me that." She came at him again, and this time Goku met her, and the fight that followed tore the plane apart. She went to liquid, and he struck. The moment she reformed, she scattered into 100 points of light, and he tracked every one of them because the beast had given him the flow of the dimensional energy itself, and she was moving through it, and moving through it leaves a wake. She stopped being anywhere, and he punched where she was going to, have to be, and then Goku stopped chasing. He simply stood, arms down, eyes closed, in the middle of a firestorm of a goddess who was hitting him from every angle at once. "What is he doing?" Vegeta breathed. Neon struck him 40 times in a second, and none of it landed with any weight, because Goku's body was moving without him, that terrible flowing half-step, silver fire trailing behind every motion. "You cannot win by waiting," she snarled. "I'm not waiting," Goku says, and he opens his eyes. "I'm counting. You've got a rhythm. Every 7th shift you go back through solid." Ryuma had a rhythm too. Everybody's got one. He caught her on the 7th. The Kamehameha did not have a color anymore. It came out of him, white and silver, and streaked with something red and old that had never been fired in this universe before, and it took Neon off the surface of the earth and out through the atmosphere and kept going, and somewhere far out past the moon there was a light that lasted 4 full seconds. Goku dropped to one knee, smoking. Kakarot. Vegeta had dragged himself over. Is she dead? No. Hurt. Really hurt. Goku wiped his mouth. Vegeta, listen. Universe 6 and Universe 11 are still under attack, and Xeno's alone, at the palace with Rima. Then go. Your ribs are, I said go. Vegeta shoved him, and it was weak, and it was absolutely in order. You saved my planet, go save the rest of it. And Kakarot, he didn't look up. Do not lose to that thing. I want him myself afterward. Goku grinned and vanished. He hit Universe 6 in 11 seconds. Jororia never saw what took him off Kaba, and the mountain range he landed in is still a canyon today. Universe 11 took 19 seconds, and Jiren, who does not thank anyone, stood in the wreckage with his fists lowered and watched a silver comet leave the sky and said nothing at all for a long time. And then Goku arrived at the palace of the Omni King. The throne room was split open, floor to ceiling, and there was no floor. The Grand Priest was down, not fighting, down, face first, his staff in 3 pieces beside him. Ryuma stood at the center of it with his arm outstretched, and hanging in the air above his hand, held there like a candle, flame being pinched out, was Zeno, half of him. From the waist down, the Omni King of all reality was simply not there anymore, and the not there was creeping upward. Zeno saw him, and that small, ancient, terrible child smiled at him. You made it, he says. Friend, I'm so glad. Zeno, ah, Ryuma says without turning around. There you are, right on time. And behind all of it, out past the broken wall of the throne room, in the dark where nothing is supposed to be, a window of golden light was opening. Goku didn't shout. That's the thing people get wrong about him. He crossed the broken throne room without a sound, and his fist was already moving when Ryuma turned, and the impact went off, like a sun being stepped on. The whole palace tilted. Pillars that had stood since before the first universe cooled snapped at the base and fell away into the dark. Ryuma slid back, perhaps 2 meters, and his hand never released. Zeno. Better, he says, considerably better than the child who fought me last week. Whatever you found in that dimension, it took. Let him go. He is already going. I am simply holding the door open, and Zeno was going. The erasure had crept up past his chest now, and where his body ended there was no wound, no edge, just the world quietly declining to continue him. Goku. Zeno's voice was thin. Stop looking at me like that. I'm not scared. Don't talk. I'm gonna get you out of there. Just, friend. Listen to me, please. I don't have very long, and I need you to listen. Goku stopped. I chose you a long time before you knew about it, Zeno says. Not because you were the strongest. You weren't. You still aren't. I chose you because when I told you that 6 universes could kill me, the first thing you asked was how much time we had, not how strong they were, not what you'd get out of it. How much time? He smiled. Nobody has ever asked me that. Every god I've ever met asks what it costs them. Zeno, I'm giving you the rest of it, all of it, everything I have left. The Grand Priest's voice came from the floor, ruined and desperate. My lord, no, he isn't finished. His body has integrated the beast, but a full transfer of Omni King essence untempered. At once, it will not make him a king, it will unmake him. I know what it does, Zeno says quietly. I also know what happens to all of you if I take it with me. And he opened his hand. What came out of the Omni King was not light. Guys, I want to be careful here because it wasn't light, and it wasn't energy, and it wasn't ki. It was authority. The raw, absolute, unarguable authority of the being who sat above every universe and decided whether they got to keep existing. And it left Zeno in a single silent pulse and went into Goku's chest. Ryuma actually stepped back. Goku's scream came a half-second later. His body lifted off the broken floor, his arms locked out at his sides. The silver fire of the beast and the white of the Omni King essence hit each other inside him and refused to mix, 2 absolutes trying to occupy the same man, and Goku's skin split open along the same crack lines Neon had opened, except now what came out of the cracks was starlight. I told you, the beast growled inside him. I told you what power costs. 2 masters cannot ride one vessel. Choose, take mine and burn his out, or take his and cast me away, but choose now, boy, because in 4 seconds there will not be enough of you left to choose with. No, Goku forces out. There is no third answer. There's always a third answer, and he pulled them both in. He didn't pick, he didn't let go of either one. He grabbed the wild, ancient hunger of the beast in one hand and the cold, absolute authority of the king in the other, and he dragged them into the same space and held them there while they tore him apart. And he kept holding, because he had done this before, hadn't he? Whis had taught him balance, Roshi had taught him the turtle and the crane. He had spent his entire life being two things at once that were not supposed to fit. "Why are you not dying?" the beast says, and there was something in its voice that had never been there. "Because I've got people counting on me," Goku says. "I told Ryuma that once. He didn't get it either." And the two powers stopped fighting, not merged, not fused. They agreed, and there is a difference, and the difference is that the thing standing in the throne room when the light cleared was not wearing anybody else's power. It was his. His hair was white, not silver, white, the pure absolute white of the space between universes, and it fell past his shoulders in slow motion like it was underwater. The fur that the beast had given him was gone from his skin and had gone somewhere deeper. Instead, his eyes had no pupils. They were two small holes cut in the world with something enormous on the other side. And when he breathed out, the erasure crawling up Zeno's chest stopped. Just stopped, reversed a centimeter. The Grand Priest, flat on the ruined floor, started laughing. It was a terrible sound coming from him, cracked and half sobbing. "He is countermanding it," he says. "Ryuma, do you understand what you are looking at? He is countermanding the erasure of an Omni King. He is telling reality no, and reality is listening to him." Ryuma released Zeno. The small body dropped, and Goku caught him before he'd fallen a repeson Zeno meter, and set him down against a broken pillar with a gentleness that was frankly hard to watch, and turned around. "Okay," he says, "round two." Round two, Ryuma agrees, and his crimson aura came up like a tide of blood. The first exchange lasted 9 seconds and destroyed 4 uninhabited dimensions adjacent to the palace. They met in the center of the throne room, and the room ceased to be there. They came out the other side of it into open void, still trading, Ryuma's fists moving in patterns refined across 11 million years of war, and Goku answering every single one. Not dodging, answering, where Ultra Instinct used to slide him out of the way. The new form met the strike, absorbed the shape of it, and gave it back improved. Ryuma broke away, breathing hard for the first time in his existence. "You are learning my techniques as I use them." "Yep, that is not a Saiyan trait. That is not even Yamoshi's trait. That is a King's trait. Zeno did that to you. Zeno gave me the room. I'm doing the learning." They collided again, and this time Goku pressed. He went through Ryuma's guard on the third exchange, put a knee into his ribs on the fifth, and on the ninth he did something that made the Grand Priest sit up despite 3 broken vertebrae. Goku caught Ryuma's fist, and for a quarter of a second, the fist wasn't there anymore. Erased. Just the hand, just briefly, and then Ryuma yanked the arm back and it reformed, and he was staring at it with something that had finally stopped being contempt. "You cannot control that yet," he says. "Nope, you do not know how much of me you would take if you tried it properly. You could take all of me. You could take this entire region of reality with me." "Yeah," Goku says, "that's kinda why I'm not trying it properly." And Ryuma laughed, genuinely laughed, this enormous ancient thing that had wounded the Omni King, laughing in the middle of a dead throne room. "Do you know what you are? You are the most dangerous being that has ever existed, and you are dangerous because you keep choosing not to be." Zeno picked correctly. I will admit that freely. His aura climbed, which is precisely why I cannot allow you to reach tomorrow. He raised both arms, and the sphere that formed above him was not the devastation of the ancients. It was bigger, and it was slower, and it was drinking the light out of everything around it. "This one has no name," Ryuma says. "I have used it once. I used it on Zeno." Goku set his feet. "Then I guess I'm using something I've never used either." He didn't cup his hands at his side. He brought them up in front of his chest, palms open, and the energy that gathered there had no color at all. It was simply an absence with edges, and the throne room's remaining pillars began drifting toward it. Saiyan, if you fire that in a place this unstable, you will take Universe 7 with it. Goku's eyes flicked just once toward the small broken figure slumped against the pillar behind him. And that's when everything stopped. Not slowed, stopped. The sphere above Ryuma hung motionless. The energy between Goku's palms sat frozen in the air like a photograph of a detonation. Dust hung where it was. The Grand Priest's blood stopped falling and simply waited in a line in the empty space. Every clock in every universe stopped, and it wasn't hit, and it wasn't whis. Out past the broken wall, the golden window finished opening. That is quite enough, Gilgamesh says. I've watched you both long enough, and I've decided I'd rather not have you break my toys before I've had a turn. He stepped through into the frozen throne room, and Ryuma, who feared nothing in existence, went absolutely white. You, he breathed, you are supposed to be a story. Most of the good ones are. Gilgamesh's golden eyes went past him to Goku, to the impossible white-haired thing standing in the middle of a stopped universe, and he smiled the way a man smiles at a very good hand of cards. Hello, successor, he says. Let's talk about your inheritance. I don't want an inheritance, Goku says. I want you to unfreeze him so I can finish this. Gilgamesh walked a slow circle around him, hands behind his back, studying the white hair and the pupilless eyes like a man appraising a horse. You misunderstand me. I am not here to fight you. I'm here because you are about to do something spectacularly stupid and I'd like a better seat for it. He stopped in front of Ryuma's frozen face. This one has been holding back on you, successor, not out of mercy, out of habit. He has spent 11 million years being the strongest thing in any room he walks into, and he has forgotten what his own ceiling looks like. So I'm going to remind him. Gilgamesh reached out and touched 2 fingers to Ryuma's chest. Consider it a gift to the both of you. He gets to find out what he really is, and you get to find out whether Zeno was right about you, which frankly is the only question in this multiverse I still care about. Don't. Time restarted, and Ryuma came apart, not physically. Guys, what happened was that every restraint that 11 million years of discipline had wrapped around this being simply fell off him at once. His crimson aura did not grow. It inverted. It went from a fire pouring outward to something pulling inward, a collapsing point, and the palace debris that had been drifting in the void began falling toward him and getting smaller as it went. The nameless sphere above his head shrank to the size of a fist and became 100 times heavier. Oh, Ryuma says quietly, looking at his own hands. Oh, I had forgotten this. Goku fired. The colorless Kamehameha crossed the gap in no time at all, and Ryuma caught it, open palm. He caught a beam that had been built out of Omni King authority in one hand, and the fingers closed, and it went out like a match. Round 3, Ryuma says, and he was already there. The first phase of that fight lasted 11 seconds, and it happened entirely inside a space no larger than a house. They didn't move across the void. They stood inside arm's reach of each other and through everything, because Ryuma had decided that distance was where Goku learned, and up close there was nothing to learn, only speed. Fist, forearm, elbow, knee, headbutt, and Goku answered all of it, blocking with the outside of his wrists, taking 3 hits to give 1 back, and the shock waves of the exchange were folding the surrounding dimensions like paper. Then Ryuma changed his rhythm mid-strike. He had thrown the same combination 4 times. Goku had solved it by the 3rd. On the 5th, Ryuma threw the first 2 beats of it, and then simply didn't throw the 3rd, and Goku's counter went into empty space, and Ryuma's real strike came up underneath and took him in the solar plexus. Goku folded around the fist. You read patterns, Ryuma says, driving him down through a dead moon, so I will stop having patterns. The moon detonated behind them. Second phase, Goku broke away, bleeding from the mouth, and went defensive, and that's when Ryuma started hunting. Every technique the sacred god had spent millions of years perfecting came out in sequence, a strike that landed a half second after the arm moved, so Goku's instinct dodged the wrong moment. a punch that carried no force on impact and released all of it 3 heartbeats later, deep inside the body, so Goku blocked it perfectly and then coughed blood anyway. An open hand thrust that hit the space beside him and dragged him into it. He's dismantling him. The Grand Priest breathed from the ruin. Every one of those counters exists specifically to beat instinct-based movement. He built them for Lord Zeno. Goku took 11 of those in a row. On the 12th, he stopped defending. He let the strike through, took it across the ribs, felt 3 of them go, and used the half-second while Ryuma's arm was extended to get a hand on the sacred god's shoulder. The shoulder ceased to exist, not a wound, a clean absence, a bite taken out of reality where an angel arm had been attached, and Ryuma tore himself backward with a sound that had never come out of him before. "That is twice," he snarls, and the shoulder was already rebuilding itself out of crimson light, slowly, wrongly. "You cannot control it, and you keep using it." "I don't need to control it," Goku says, spitting red. "I just need to touch you." Third phase, and this is where it got bad, because Ryuma stopped letting him touch anything. He went to full distance and opened up, and the void between them filled with attacks the size of solar systems. The devastation of the ancients came in 3s now, and Goku was moving through them, and each one he dodged detonated behind him and pushed the next one into his path. "Do you know why I am winning?" Ryuma called across the burning dark. "It is not power. You may actually exceed me in power now, and that is not a small thing to admit. It is that you have had this form for 6 minutes and I have had mine for 11 million years. "Yeah," Goku says, "you keep saying that, because it is the only thing that matters." "Nah." Goku came out of the last explosion with his hair on fire and his gi in strips. "You said the same thing last week about experience, and you lost that fight. I withdrew from that fight. You lost it. You just left before anybody could say so." And Ryuma, for the first time, lost his temper. He came in raw, all technique gone, pure crushing force, and he got both hands on Goku and drove him through the frozen ruin of the palace and out the far side of it and kept going, through 9-dimensional walls, each one exploding as they passed, until they came out into open non-space with Ryuma's fist buried in Goku's chest. "Say it again," Ryuma says. "Say I lost." Goku grabbed the wrist. "You lost." Fourth phase, and this is the part where I need you all to actually pay attention. Goku did not erase him. He had the arm. He had the contact. Every instinct he had said close the hand and end it, and instead he held on and pulled, and what he pulled was not Ryuma's body. It was the technique, the nameless attack, the one Ryuma had used exactly once on Zeno 11 million years ago. Goku's Saiyan biology had always learned from battle. Yamoshi's blood had always taken power from any source. And now the authority of an Omni King sat on top of both of those, and authority does not ask, it decides. Ryuma felt it leaving him. "No, no, that is mine. That is not something you can. You showed it to me," Goku says, twice. "That's how this works. You keep telling me experience beats everything, and you're right, and I've got yours now." He let go. Ryuma fell back, and the crimson collapsing star of his aura guttered because a piece of it was gone, walking around inside somebody else. And Goku raised one hand, and above his palm the nameless sphere formed. Ryuma's technique, smaller, denser, cleaner, because Goku had built it out of Zeno's authority instead of destruction, and it wasn't drinking the light out of the void anymore, it was holding it. "This one has no name," Goku says. "You told me that, so I'll give it one." Behind him, half a universe away, an angel with 3 broken vertebrae was dragging himself toward a small unconscious king. "It's for Zeno." He threw it, and Ryuma, who had wounded the Omni King, who had held the multiverse's fate in one open hand 10 minutes ago, put both arms up and braced and did not move an inch, and the sphere took him full in the chest and carried him out past the edge of the palace's reality and detonated somewhere so far away that when the light finally arrived, it arrived as a sunrise. Silence. Goku dropped. He fell maybe 40 meters through the wreckage before he caught himself, and his white hair was going out, the color bleeding away from the roots down, and by the time he landed he was just a man again, black hair, torn gib, standing up, mostly out of habit. "He is not dead," Gilgamesh says pleasantly from somewhere above. I know. Goku didn't look up. I felt him at the end. He put something between himself and it. Correct. He will be back, and he will be far angrier, and he will have 5 friends with him instead of 4 this time, because I suspect the goddess you punched into the moon has some feelings about it as well. Gilgamesh drifted down, golden and untouched, and entirely unbothered by the ruin. Which brings us neatly back to your inheritance. I told you, I don't want it. Oh, successor, Gilgamesh smiled. It isn't a thing I'm offering you. It's a thing I'm informing you about. He gestured, and the frozen throne room's far wall dissolved, and behind it there was not the void. There were 6 thrones, 5 of them empty, and the 6th, the largest, had somebody sitting in it, and that somebody had Goku's face. The man on the 6th throne opened his eyes, and they were Goku's eyes, and they had been open for a very long time. Don't, Gilgamesh says mildly, don't ask who he is, ask what the chair is. That's my face. It is a face the chair likes. Goku took a step toward the thrones, and the floor under him stopped being a floor. He was standing in a hall that had no walls and no source of light, and yet everything in it cast a shadow. 6 thrones in a half circle, 5 of them holding nothing but dust in the shape of people. The 6th man stood up. He was broader than Goku, older, hair down past his waist and gone completely white at the ends, and he wore the tattered remains of something that might have been an armor 11 million years ago. "So you're the new one," he says. "You took the pearl." Goku's breath stopped. "You're Yamoshi." The man rolled his neck, and it cracked like a continent. "The first one who took it." "The first one?" Zeno asked. "The first one who said yes." Zeno never said anything about, "Zeno doesn't remember me." Yamoshi smiled, and it was terrible, because it was Goku's smile with all the warmth scraped out of it. That's what the chair does. You sit in it, you hold everything together, and the universes forget you were ever separate from them. 5 before me. He gestured at the dust. They forgot too. Then they stopped being anything at all. Then get out of it. Kid. Yamoshi's aura came up, and it was white, the exact same white Goku's hair had been 10 minutes ago. Nobody gets out of it. Somebody sits down when you stand up. That's the whole arrangement. That's the inheritance. And guys, that's when Goku understood what Gilgamesh had actually brought him here for. "You want my seat," Goku says. "I want to sleep," Yamoshi says. "I've wanted it for 11 million years. And the chair only lets go of one of us if the other one is stronger." He was across the hall before the sentence finished. Phase 1 lasted 40 seconds, and Goku did not land a single, meaningful strike, and here's why. He opened with the Kamehameha. Yamoshi caught it, folded it, and fired it back, and it came out of his hands bigger. He went to the Erasure touch, the thing that had taken Ryuma's shoulder off. Yamoshi caught his wrist, and the Erasure went off, and the hand that had been holding Goku's wrist simply reassembled itself before it had finished disappearing. He went to Ryuma's nameless technique, the one he'd stolen 40 minutes ago, and Yamoshi's eyebrows went up in genuine pleasure. "Oh, that's a good one. I don't have that one." And then he had it. Goku felt it leave him the same way Ryuma had felt it leave, that cold sensation of something being decided about you, and Yamoshi threw it back, and Goku ate it full in the chest and went through. 4 of the 6 thrones, stone that had held Omni Kings shattered, like dry clay. "Same blood," Yamoshi says, walking after him unhurried. "You know what our blood does. It takes. You've been taking from everyone you've ever fought, and you thought that made you special." He caught Goku by the throat, lifted him. "I've been taking, for 11 million years, from every threat this multiverse has ever produced, sitting in a chair that shows me all of it at once. There is nothing in you that isn't already in me." Second phase, Goku stopped trying to win with power. He went low, took the throat grip as a pivot, and put a knee into Yamoshi's elbow joint at an angle that had nothing divine about it at all. It was a turtle school disengagement. It was the first thing Master Roshi ever taught him on an island when he was 11 years old. Yamoshi's grip broke out of pure surprise. What was that? Roshi, Goku says, and hit him with a straight right that was equally unremarkable and landed absolutely clean because Yamoshi had spent 11 million years learning to counter techniques and had entirely forgotten how to counter a punch. They went at it properly then, and this is the part I've been waiting to tell you about. Because Goku stopped using anything new, no erasure, no stolen techniques, no Omni King authority. He fought Yamoshi with the martial arts of a dead old man on a small island on a small planet, and with the Kaioken, and with the Kamehameha at the size he used to fire it at the World Tournament. And Yamoshi could copy every single one of them, and it did not help him, because copying a technique is not the same as having spent your childhood being beaten half to death while you learned it. Goku's elbow opened Yamoshi's brow. His follow-up took the man off his feet. He hit him with a Kaioken times 20 into the chest that folded him around it. "You are fighting me," Yamoshi says, wiping blood out of his eye, "with garbage." "Yeah, weak, primitive, mortal garbage." "Yeah," Goku says, "feels good, right?" And Yamoshi stopped. Third phase, and the danger here wasn't power, it was that Yamoshi finally started enjoying himself. "It does," he says quietly, "it does feel good." His white aura came back, and this time it came back correctly, controlled, and the hall's remaining light bent toward him. He came in, and the exchange that followed was the fastest thing in the history of the multiverse, and I mean that as a literal statement, because Gilgamesh later said that the two of them were moving fast, enough that causality was giving up on deciding which strike came first. Goku took a fist to the jaw that broke it. He gave back a knee that cracked Yamoshi's sternum. They stood in the ruins of 6 thrones and hit each other, and neither one gave a step, and the dust of 5 dead Omni Kings lifted off the ground and orbited them. "Do you understand yet?" Yamoshi shouted through it. "You cannot beat me by being stronger. I get stronger when you are. That is the blood. That is the joke of it. We cannot beat each other." "I know," Goku says. He dropped his hands. Yamoshi's fist stopped 2 inches from his face. "What are you doing?" "You said the chair lets go of one of us if the other one's stronger." Goku's jaw was hanging wrong. He was breathing in pieces. He looked up at his own face and he smiled at it. "But that's not the rule, is it? That's just what you told yourself so you'd have a reason to keep fighting people. Don't. The chair doesn't want strong. It's had strong 6 times. It's got dust." Goku nodded at the thrones. "It wants somebody who'll sit down. That's all. And you sat down because Zeno asked you, and there wasn't anybody else, and then you spent 11 million years trying to lose to somebody so you could stand up." Yamoshi's arm was shaking. "I have earned it. I'm not saying you didn't. Then fight me." "No," Goku says, and the hall went absolutely silent. "I'm not sitting in it," Goku says. "Not now, not after I beat you, not ever. Zeno gave me his power to protect people, and I'm gonna go protect them, out there, where they are. If the chair wants somebody to sit still and hold everything together for 11 million years, then the chair can find somebody who wants that job, because I've got a wife who makes terrible jokes and a rival who's mad at me and about 4 sacred gods who are gonna wake up angry in an hour, and I am not gonna sit here and watch it happen through a window." He put his hand on Yamoshi's shoulder, the one he could still lift. "Come with me." Yamoshi stared at him. "What? Come with me? You said you wanted to sleep. You don't. If you wanted to sleep, you'd have let the dust take you 1,000,000 years ago, like the other 5. You want to be tired around somebody." Goku shrugged and winced doing it. "So come be tired around us. Vegeta's gonna hate you. It's gonna be great. And guys, I want to describe what happened to this man's face, and I don't think I can." Behind them, slow and grinding, the 6th throne began to crack. Not break, crack, the way ice cracks in spring from the inside, and the dust of 5 kings that had been orbiting them stopped orbiting and drifted down and settled, and something in that hall that had been holding its breath for 11 million years finally let it out. "It's letting go," Yamoshi whispered. "It's letting go, and neither of us won. Yeah, well, Goku fell over. He'd been standing on nothing for a while. Turns out that was the trick. Slow applause from the dark. Gilgamesh walked into the ruin of the throne hall with his hands coming together, and there was nothing mocking in it, which somehow made it worse. 11 million years, he says. Do you know how many candidates I have walked into this room? 41. Do you know how many refused the chair? He held up a fist. 0. Every single one of them sat down. Even Yamoshi sat down, and Yamoshi was the best of them. Goku, flat on his back, managed to turn his head. You built this. I built the test. Zeno built the throne. Badly, several million years before he was any good at building things, and I have been waiting for somebody to fail it correctly ever since. Gilgamesh crouched beside him, golden eyes bright. You understand what you've done, don't you? The chair is empty now. Nothing is holding the seams together. Nothing has been holding them for the last 4 seconds. Yamoshi's head snapped up. What? Oh yes. Gilgamesh stood, brushing dust off his sleeve, and he was smiling, and out past the shattered wall of the hall, in the far dark, 6 enormous shapes were beginning to move. The sacred universes were sealed by the throne successor, not by Zeno, by the chair. And you have just personally, deliberately, with a rather moving speech, opened all 6 of them. Goku sat up. Somewhere very far away, Ryuma was laughing. The 6 universes didn't arrive. That's the wrong word. They finished. For 11 million years they had been held at a fraction, sealed, down small enough to fit inside the space the throne allowed them. And now the throne was cracked, and they simply expanded to the size they had always been. Stars that had been the size of stars became the size of galaxies. And standing in front of it, at the head of 6 restored realities, 6 figures came walking out of the light. Rima, Nin, whole again, her outline no longer stuttering. Droria, scales like poured metal. Cirrus with his galaxies orbiting. Hamura with his hands folded. And behind them, silent, Mikoshi, Goku. Yamoshi hauled him up by the arm. How much have you got left? Honestly? Yes, nothing. Goku tried for the white form and nothing came, not a flicker. It's gone. The king stuff went into the throne when it broke. I've got the beast and I've got me, and that's it. Then you have Super Saiyan Blue and a very good attitude. Pretty much. Yamoshi laughed, and it was the first real one out of him in 11 million years. Kid, I have been waiting 11 million years to die, properly. This is a wonderful day. Rima stopped 50 meters out. Saiyan, before we begin, I want you to know that I have thought about our last exchange constantly for the past 9 minutes, and I have concluded that you were correct. He inclined his head. I lost. Say it as many times as you like. It will not be true after today. Nya. Okay, Goku says and powers up. Phase 1 was a massacre, and Goku was on the receiving end of it. Droria hit him first, and the difference between the sacred god who had attacked Universe 6 and the one standing here was the difference between a rock and a mountain falling on you. Goku blocked, and both his forearms broke. Cirrus took the ground out from under him, folding the local space so that down stopped, meaning anything, and while Goku was correcting, Nian's hand went through his back and started asking his atoms to disagree with each other. He got out of it by detonating his own ki at point blank, which hurt him more than it hurt her, and that was the theme of the next 90 seconds. He couldn't hurt them. Blue wasn't enough. It was so far from enough that it was almost funny. Every strike he landed, and he landed plenty, arrived like a man throwing gravel at a warship. Goku! Yamoshi was across the field, holding Droria and Cirrus by himself, and even he was bleeding. You're doing it wrong. I noticed. No, listen to me. You've been taking your whole life. That's what you think the blood does. Hamura's construct fire caught Goku across the chest and put him through a dead star. It isn't, Yamoshi roared. That's what I thought too, and it cost me 11 million years. Our blood doesn't take, kid. Anybody's blood can take. Ours holds. Goku came out of the wreckage. What's the difference? You can carry other people's power without it burning you out. That's the whole thing. That's the actual gift. Xeno's essence didn't kill you because you can hold what other people give you, you idiot, and you have spent your entire life stealing when all you had to do was ask. And Ryuma took Yamoshi's head off the conversation with a fist. Phase 2. Goku stopped fighting and put his hands up. Not surrender. Up. Palms open, over his head, in the oldest posture he had. He's charging something, Hamura says sharply. All of you, on him, now. Everybody, Goku shouted, and his voice went out through a broken throne room, through a shattered palace, across 12 universes and 6 restored ones, carried on the last dregs of an Omni King's authority that hadn't gone into the chair. Everybody, listen, it's me, Goku. I need it. Whatever you've got, just a little. Silence. Then, from Earth, Vegeta, on his knees in a glass crater, one arm, hanging useless, raising the other. Kakarot, you absolute clown, he says, and gives it anyway. From Universe 6, Kaba, and Hit, and Caulifla with half her ribs, gone. From Universe 11, Jiren, who stood alone in the rubble of his own world and lifted a single hand, and said nothing, and gave more than everyone before him combined. From Universe 7, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, an old bald man with no divine anything, giving everything he had. Beerus, sulking, giving. Whis, delighted, giving. Chi-Chi, who has never had a drop of ki in her life, standing in a field with her hands up because her husband asked. And Yamoshi, flat on his back with a shattered jaw, giving 11 million years. He's building a spirit bomb, Droria snarled. Kill him, it's a spirit bomb, it's just a no, Hamura says, and for the first time there was fear in the god of wisdom's voice. No, it isn't going above him, look, it isn't forming, because it wasn't forming. All of that power, 12 universes of it, was going into Goku. That's the difference. That's what Yamoshi had been screaming about. A spirit bomb is power you gather and throw. This was power he was holding in his own body, all of it, and any other nif being in existence would have come apart at the second percent. Goku's hair came up, not white, not silver, black, standing straight up, and then edged in, gold, and then the gold went through blue and passed it into something that had no name because nobody had ever had a reason to name it. His broken forearms set themselves. His aura came out in one enormous soundless expansion that pushed all 6 sacred universes back a full light year. He opened his eyes and they were normal, just Goku's eyes, dark and cheerful and completely awake. Okay, he says, now let's go. Phase 3, and now the numbers meant nothing. Droria came in first because Droria always came in first, and Goku took his charge on one palm and stopped it dead, and the shockwave of a stopped sacred god flattened the surrounding dimensions. Then he closed his hand around the dragon god's wrist and threw him, not through anything, at Cirrus and the two of Wizen Kano. Them went out of the fight together through 9-dimensional walls. Neon shifted to her non-state, the one nothing can touch. I've done this one, Goku says, and hit her on the 7th anyway. Hamura tried to trap him and Goku walked out of the trap by breaking the part of space it was anchored to. Cirrus came back, and Goku met him mid-air and put him down in 3 exchanges. And then it was Ryuma, and Ryuma was smiling. There it is, he says. That is the fight I came 11 million years for. They hit each other, and this time neither one moved. Fists locked, aura against aura, and the two of them stood at the center of a ruined multiverse and simply pushed, and the pushing was tearing new dimensions open around them. Ryuma's crimson collapsed against a light made out of 12 universes worth of donated hope. And I want to be clear, guys, Ryuma was not losing. He met it. Everything Goku had, and he met it. You feel that? Ryuma says through his teeth. Perfectly matched. Nobody wins this. We stand here until one of us dies of it. Yeah, Goku says, except you're holding your own power. Meaning mine's got Vegeta in it, Goku says, and Vegeta does not run out. He pushed, and Ryuma's arms bent. Phase 4 was 11 seconds long, and it was not a fight, it was a demolition, and I've watched it back, and I still can't follow half of it. Goku broke his guard, broke his stance, broke his rhythm, and every single technique the sacred god had spent millions of years building came out, and none of them mattered because Goku was not dodging or countering anymore. He was simply arriving faster than the techniques could be thrown. The last exchange was a straight punch, nothing fancy. Right hand into the chest, and Ryuma went across the void and through his own restored universe's outermost star and did not get up. Silence again. Goku stood there breathing, and the borrowed light was already flooding out of him, going back where it came from, and by the time Mikoshi walked out to him, he was just a beat-up man in a torn gi. Again, she stopped a few meters away, the only one of the 6 who hadn't thrown a punch all day. I said this was beneath us, she says. At the meeting, nobody listened. I know, I heard you. Her eyes widened slightly. You were unconscious in a healing chamber. Yeah, well, Goku shrugged. I heard you anyway. Look, I've got no idea how this ends. Your guys hate me, and I get why. Zeno erased you, and that's not something I can fix with an apology. But you've got 6 universes full of people who just woke up after 11 million years and none of them did anything to anybody. He put out a hand. So maybe you and me start there. Mikoshi looked at the hand for a long time, and then, very far behind them, in the ruin of the throne hall, there was a sound like something settling into a chair. Goku turned. Gilgamesh was sitting in the 6th throne, the cracked one, and under him, slowly, silently, the cracks were sealing. Ah, he says, don't stop on my account. Really, that was magnificent. I haven't been that entertained since the 5th universe learned to scream. Get out of that. Why? It was empty. Gilgamesh settled back, and golden light began climbing the throne's arms, and out in the dark, all 6 sacred universes shuddered as something took hold of their seams. Again, you refused it, successor. You made a lovely speech about it, and a refused throne doesn't stay empty, it just becomes available. He crossed one leg over the other. So, 41 candidates sat down and one stood up, and I let that one live because I needed to know it was possible. His golden eyes came up, and there was nothing playful left in them at all. Now let's find out if it's survivable.